They see me streaming, they hating. Oh my god, I think I spent 5 hours to watch it because I constantly had to pause. Sorry, pause as in not pause the video, but like close the video so I can take a break. It was the most boring thing that I have seen. Oh my god. And my expectations were so low. They were so low. I made a video and I said it's like all I want is for the action sequences to be good. I don't care about the story. I really don't. It's like when you play a video game and you're escape, 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 yeah, blah 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 blah, escape, escape, click, 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 click. I don't need dialogue. Okay, shut the fuck. I don't need that. I want to see people doing the kung fu. I want the shooty shooty. That's what I wanted. And I want to see an agent dodge the bullets. That is it. That was my expectations. I could have watched the movie on mute for all I care, and I would still say, you know what? The action scenes were good. It meet the expectations. Worst action scenes ever. By the way, Miss Akasha, I will say one thing. You know, I said no spoilers, but I'll not spoil. Actually, I'll not spoil. I'll just give like vague references or something. It wasn't about woman power. It was about couple. Right. This is actually one of the only movies that I can think of which came out in recent, I would say, decade actually, which considers that men and women are to complete each other and they're stronger together. So it was about the couples, right? Like together. And yeah, I like that. I don't mind. Yeah. But no, it wasn't like woman power or anything. It was like couple power, like together, apes strong. So I like that. Whatever, This I don't care about the story. I don't care about the story. Like the blah 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 blah. They're like blah blah blah. Okay, escape cutscene. Escape, escape, escape. Hold E to skip cutscene. That's me. All I wanted was the good action. And there's in the beginning, they're shooting like there's 10 guys and they're shooting point blank and they can't hit the person. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What is this? It's like guns are useless now. And you get to notice this throughout the whole thing. Guns don't matter. I mean, I don't think anyone got shot. By the way, if you're the person that can't handle like even like vague spoil, like I'm not spoiling you the plot or anything. I'm just talking about like around the plot. I mean, we're still talking about the Matrix, so it's not zero spoilers. Okay, from 0 to 100%, you're going to get like maybe 5% spoilers. So we're talking about the action, right? The choreography. The guns were really no one could hit anything with the guns. I don't hold on, like anyone that actually seen the movie, because again I had to pause, right? Like I had to watch. I think I started watching it with my wife, and she said the blue-haired chica doesn't do it for her, and I'm like, why? And it's like, because she's like a man. And I looked at my wife, it's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, they could have put a man to play her role and it would have been the same. And I'm like, oh, well, that's the point, dear. That's the point. That's what the philosophy is trying to tell you. But no, that's not it, right? So I watched with my wife and she gets bored. She liked the first Matrix. She saw it recently with me. So she gets bored out of her mind and is like, oh, I'm going to bed. And I'm like, okay. So I stop the game. I play a little bit of XCOM. I record a video or two. Then I watch the movie again. And I think I managed to go through another hour, and then I had to stop because it was so goddamn boring. And then I play more XCOM, and then I got to finish it. So, has anyone got shot in the entire movie? I mean, there's probably hundreds of people shooting, But has anyone actually got shot? Because I don't think I have seen any person actually getting shot by a bullet in the entire film. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to watch it again. Well, actually, I'll probably not watch it again. But there's absolutely like no one getting shot, and they're firing point blanks. It's just okay. And the whole thing with Neo and Trinity, it's like a romance thing, but the actors, they're so old. Like, it just doesn't work on the big screen like that. There's nothing interesting. Like, I don't think a single person is going to watch this movie and there's going to say, oh, that's so sweet, Because, like, when you watch a Disney movie and you see Tangled, and they're getting together, and it's like, oh my god, that's so sweet, they got together, oh wow, there's nothing like that here. You don't really feel like, okay, the whole movie, in my opinion, feels devoid of emotions. I didn't care for any of those people. Not a single person got my sympathy. It is what it is. They castrate. I don't know. It's just like the other actors, right? Like Morpheus, he had gravitas. Like you cared about Morpheus, which is important because when they go to rescue him, you actually care about him, right? Agent Smith, he was a good bad guy. He was a nice villain. You love to see him on the screen. But now, I don't know why they didn't get the actors. Like, maybe they didn't want to replay the roles, or maybe they just didn't bother. I don't know the name of the actors, Agent Smith and Morpheus. But they weren't in it, so they were replaced. Like, the characters were there, but they were replaced by other people. And I know there's a lore reason for that, but I don't give a fuck. And it was just... the actors just didn't raise themselves up. I mean... You have expectations because you've seen the previous movie and you've seen what the previous actors did. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it would be like John Wick without Keanu Reeves. And you have another guy that's playing Keanu Reeves, but he's really bad. He's not Keanu Reeves. So it is what it is. He was doing another film. Oh, they actively turned Hugo Weaving away. Let me see who Hugo Weaving is. Is he the Smith or is he Morpheus? Because I don't know the names of actors. I honestly don't give a shit. Oh yeah. So they turned him away. It is, they turned Agent Smith away. It is so dumb. Their decision is colossally stupid. I think an actual Agent Smith could have saved the movie. But, like, save the movie. And by the way, the choreography is so bad. It wasn't just, like, the fact that guns were useless. And by the way, we live in the age of video games. So everyone knows, at least from a video game perspective, that it's almost next to impossible to miss at point blank range. Right? I mean, again, I never touched a gun in my life, but, like... when you're very close to a person, like 2 or 3 meters away, and you're firing a gun at them, and there's like 10 people that are firing a gun, that's an execution squad. That like, you can't fucking miss. But for some reason in this movie they did, and it's not just that. It's also the fight scenes, like the choreography. People say you have very low expectations. Like, look, I already said, it's like, I didn't care about the story at all. Like, them flapping their mouths. It's like, escape, just skip the cutscene, escape. I just wanted to see good action scenes. I just wanted to see them dodging bullets and them having smart... Okay, maybe, like, you know where I would have cared about the plot? You know what I would actually find the plot interesting? Is if they had, like, snappy one-liners. It's like in the previous Matrix, when you have Neo walking up to the security guard, and the security guard, opens his jacket and he sees that's got only weapons, and he goes, "Oh shit!" Yeah, like that's nice. Or when Trinity goes, "Dodge this." Like that was something that I wanted. Like that was the only plot that I would have been happy with. It's like have snappy one-liners and good action scenes. So Trey, no, it wasn't good. I had to stop 3 or 4 times. I did take some notes though. I did make some notes of some of the things that I like. So yeah, the couple power, like they focus on the idea of men and women working together. I like that. You don't get to see that in any other movie. Feel free. I like the idea of bots being used. So they kind of upgraded the Matrix a little bit, and now you have like some other things like bots, and you also get the not just the thing that they're walking through windows and stuff. I like the fact that they didn't actually shit on the IP. So it's not like Star Wars where they're actually shitting on the characters and they're shitting on the IP. So I appreciated that. The story itself, I mean, most of it, the plot points, I mean, they didn't really... It wasn't like the Terminator where nothing makes sense. There were a couple of things that didn't make sense, but like the overarching story, meh, I guess. It's serviceable. It's just that I didn't care about any of the people. And, my god, alright, let's talk about some of the things that I didn't like. This was actually like one of the worst. They were talking about philosophy during an action scene. Like they were beating up each other, and there's this program, I'm not going to give spoilers, but he literally goes into a rant about how movies are only prequels and reboots now. Like trying to be self-aware, I guess. And it's like so cringe. It is just, like the previous Matrix did that, it had philosophy in it, but not during action scenes. And it was also the fact that it didn't try to break the fourth wall and be that quote-unquote quirky and self-aware. So I found, like, if you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about and who am I talking about, but it was so cringe. Completely took me out. And it's good that it took me out, because the action scene was horrible as well. The choreography was abysmal. I don't know what happened. Like, why is the... By the way, it's the same like in the Star Wars, where you have Rey fighting against the 7 or 8 other red dudes, and the choreography there is bad as hell. They keep talking about binary this, binary that, binary. Because, like, here's the thing, right? The people who made the first Matrix, the Wachowski, they used to be brothers, but then they transitioned. So they're coming out years later. I mean, like, we're talking how much? Like 10, 12, 13 years? I forgot how long it was. But a long ass time anyway. And they're talking about how the first Matrix is about transitioning. And to me, it feels a little bit of like J.K. Rowling, like rewriting stuff that wasn't there just because it's trendy. And people say, well, yeah, but like they transition. So come on. No one watched The Matrix. Not a single person watched The Matrix and said, oh my God, this is like transgenderism. Like not a single person did that. At least I didn't see it. And I even know transgender people. None of them watched The Matrix and it was like, oh, being transgender is like being in The Matrix. Right? So it was just utter bullshit. So now they're coming up with this. Why? Because they think they're going to get good press. And in the movie, like, literally they keep hammering the idea of binary this, binary that, binary. It's like, just shut the fuck up, we get it. The first Matrix didn't do that. I mean, the first Matrix was like, bending the spoon. It's like, try bending yourself rather than bending the spoon. Bending yourself, bending. They didn't do that. Like, they would just drop the philosophy line and leave it there. And another thing they keep doing, and this is like unbelievably lame, is the worst thing in the entire movie. They use scenes from the previous movies, and they just replay this thing, right? So they say the same lines, they do the same things, and they keep showing you the previous scene. It's like, hey, remember this? It's like, hey, did you know that this happened? It's like, oh, this is an homage to the thing. it was just unbelievably lame. Like, why would you just do that? Just like, we saw the first Matrix, okay? It's a classic. If you're going to pay homage, and by the way, like, I hate the thing paying homage. Like, you pay homage once or twice, but they didn't pay homage to it. They ripped it off. And I kind of get it, it's the same guy who made it, so he can't rip off himself. But it's kind of like, imagine like you make your homework, and then the next day you just copy part of your previous homework. It's like copy paste. It's like, why would you do that? Like, who would like that? Who would appreciate that? Oh my god, I got a super chat. I didn't expect to get super chats tonight. I'm just ranting. I'm just doing the stream more for myself. There's a whole scene completely open about Warner Bros. Forcing them to make this movie. They will do it with or without us. Yeah, so I don't know if this is because of like them making a joke because they actually wanted to make the movie, or is it because it actually happened, like Warner Brothers actually wanted to make this movie? I thought they wanted to make the movie. I don't know. It's just like, oh god. Maybe this is what it is. Like, it could actually be what it is. Maybe the Wachowski sister, because I understand the other sister didn't want to do anything with it. Maybe she just got told by Warner Brothers to do it. So this is what she came up with to spite them. That would be an interesting theory. Like, she just did this movie to spite them. It's like, okay, fine. I'll do it. I won't shit on the IP, right? Because it's her baby. It's her world. So she doesn't shit on it, but at the same time gives the middle finger to Warner Brothers as well. So maybe that's what this is. Yeah. Wouldn't transgender have been Neo picking something other than red or blue pill? They actually talk about that a little bit. I don't want to give spoilers to people. But, like, fine. Like, this is not directly implied, so it's not really a spoiler. Turns out that the pills don't really matter. It's more like if the person is mentally prepared to experience life outside of the Matrix. So when you take the pill, when you take the red pill, you're actually accepting that you're about to discover something new. So you're preparing your subconscious to be overloaded with the messages from the real world. So like, taking the pill is kind of like a placebo. You're just doing it in order to prepare your brain for what's about to happen. And I mean, that, like, that explanation isn't that bad. I mean, yeah, there's pretty much nothing in the pill. It's not like a program or anything. But like, fine, whatever. It's the idea of non-binary. I mean, they actually do talk about a lot. Like, if you have like only two choices, and one choice is the best one and the other one isn't, then there's not really a choice at all. And I kind of agree. Like, the thing is, and I'll actually make an entire video about it. I agreed with a lot of the philosophy from this movie. For example, this one, it's like, if you have a choice and one choice is definitely good, but the other choice is definitely bad, then is it really a choice? I think about it this way, right? You can choose not to pay your taxes. It's a choice. You don't pay your taxes, right? So if you pay your taxes, you get access to welfare if you're in Europe, and you don't go to prison. If you don't pay your taxes, you go to prison and you lose your job. So technically it is a choice, but the decisions, like the decisions that you take have such diametrical consequences that it's not really a choice. I mean, overwhelmingly, most amount of people are going to pay their taxes. So no, the philosophy in the movie is really great. I mean, there's another part where I actually agree with, because I just made a video about it, funnily enough. There are people who want to be sheep. There are people who want to be controlled. There are people who want to be lied. And this is something from the first Matrix. Like, it's not necessarily a new philosophy, but Yeah, like the idea that there are people who want to live in the pod, and there are people who actually want this. They want, and they call them sheeple. But sheeple cannot be creative. Sheeple cannot build. Sheeple are just sheeple. So I love that because it's true. That is a philosophy that is true. Like, you understand the world, and when you do, because initially you think everyone wants to be free, right? Like, freedom is such a, how should I say it? It is such like, even if you argue with the fact that some people don't want to be free, like, most people don't believe you, right? We take freedom for granted. Like, the idea that everyone wants freedom, we take for granted. But in reality, no. Like, in reality, there are people, for example, right now with the pandemic, we have noticed that there are people who genuinely want safety, right? So you have people who want safety. They want comfort and they want safety. And those people exist. Like, they will reject your freedom. They don't want your freedom. They don't want to be free. They want to be safe. So this movie acknowledges the existence of these people. And it points out, like, what can you do? How can you make them free? And the answer is you can't. See, I disagree with the thing, like, nobody wants freedom. They want material abundance. The people who went to the New World in the United States, they wanted freedom. Then you have people who, like right now, okay, let's say you have a vaccine mandate. And you have certain people that will quit their job over it. Like, they're like, nope, I'm not doing this, I'm quitting my job. Clearly, those people don't want material abundance. So, no, like, there are people who want freedom. It's a way of thought. It's a way of life. And there are people who want safety. They want people that want to be told what to do. I won't delete it, Mentat, if I get super chats. Mahaha. No, just kidding. I won't delete it. It depends, Razmaz. Like, people don't want the consequences of freedom. It depends on the person. Like, there are people who legitimately want freedom. They're not that many today, and it probably depends on which part of the world you're in. But there are many people who want to be free and make their own decisions. In the common past, it was a common belief that some people are naturally slaves. So, I mean, there's a difference between, like, being enslaved, like, locked up and whatnot. But I mean, if you look, okay, fine, this is very taboo to say, but if you do study history, you will know that there were actually slaves who wanted to return to slavery in the United States after the abolition of slavery. And the reality is that a lot of slaves after the abolition died. I think it was a couple of millions of them who died because of starvation. So, I don't know if you should judge them, but I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I don't want to get into that. But it's important to know that, yeah, like, some people did want to be slaves de facto. But hold on a little bit. Why even go to America? I mean, there's people, even in the Old Testament, I believe, it talks about how certain people could sell themselves into slavery. So you had the option. For example, you make a loan that you can't pay, or you want to live something, like let's say you have a sick wife and you can't pay for the medicine, and you sell yourself into slavery. So yeah, there are people who legitimately want to be slaves. I quit my job and fled to Florida. Drawback is I'm alone in a strange new place. I mean, okay, think about it this way. You're not alone. You're in America. Sorry, it's not a strange new place. It's in America. So it's not like you went to Singapore or something like that. And you have social media where you can meet people. So what I would advise you to do is find a Facebook group from your town in Florida, and try to find activities that people like, that you enjoy. For example, I don't know, maybe you enjoy hiking, right? So find a Facebook group for hiking within your town. Or you enjoy board games or whatever, right? And go into that group, talk to people, meet with people, try to connect with ladies that have the same hobbies that you do. I don't know your age, but maybe consider going to a club or something like a tennis club or a chess club or whatever. And that's how you get to meet people. Alternatively, you can just go to a university or a trade school and you can meet a lot of people there. Slaves aren't treated well, though. Normies think that if they are compliant enough, they will be treated well, which is a lie. It depends. You know, like when you're in a class and there's a really mean teacher, like he's an asshole, and he likes to single out students to embarrass in front of the class. What most students do is they keep their head down, and because of the crowd, you can go through the lectures of that teacher without actually being singled out. Because of luck, you know, someone else gets the stick. And I think like this is what people are counting on. It's like just keep your head down, don't stand up, make sure that you're doing what everyone else is doing and you don't get noticed. Still, yeah, I already read that. Why would I have dark mode on? Why do people like dark mode so much? I never understood that. I just like default mode. If default mode is dark, like on Discord, then I like it. If it's not default, then I don't have it. The govern me harder daddy types are a scourge in all days. They know it's wrong. No, here's the thing, right? The government is going to eventually run out of other people's money. It's the problem that happens throughout human history. And when it runs out of other people's money, the system is unsustainable. So, on the opposite end, a system that's built on freedom is going to eventually have a government which just expands to the point where you don't have freedom. Here's a fun fact. The idea that the government expands, right? So think about the government like a virus that keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. This is a truth. Like, this is not something that only one ideology noticed. This is something that the left agrees. This is something that the right agrees. This is something that's universally agreed because it's true. Any government, no matter how small, any nation eventually creates a government, and any government eventually expands itself. So the only difference between ideologies is how do you deal with that? So you have the far left that says, yes, the government expands, but so what? We'll just put good people in charge. So we'll put good and compassionate people in charge, and they're going to be equitable, and they're going to be equal with the citizens and blah, blah, blah. The anarcho-capitalist is, no, we're going to just destroy the government. So no government, no expansion. The right-wingers are like, no, we're just going to limit the powers of the government. So we're going to spread religion, and religion is going to convince people that there is a set of principles and rules and blah, blah, blah. But the idea that the government always expands is universally true. Because all ideologies, like every single ideology, believes that this is the case. Run out of money, they make as much as they want. Soon they'll make it so you won't be able to spend it on what you want. Okay, so money, when you think about it, what it comes down to is human energy. So human energy is what you do for your job, right? So whether you're in a factory or you're creating stuff on a computer or whatever, right? That is your labor, that is your human energy, which translates into money. It's not a direct proportional translation, it's not an equal translation, but any type of money requires some form of human energy. Even if you just let's say you're a bank and you're investing money in the stocks and the money just makes itself, well, that investment is still human energy, right? As I mentioned before, it's not directly proportional, but it's still there. So at the end of the day, the economy requires a couple of people more than it requires others. For example, every nation requires truckers, right? Like, truckers are like the red blood cell of the city. Without truckers, stuff doesn't get moved around. requires people that harvest the resources, people that chop down the trees, that pull down. Okay, so these are the essential workers. And then you have non-essential workers, like for example, media personalities, people like myself. Like you can have a society without people like myself. Journalists, lawyers, they're nice to have, but you can have a society without them, right? So where am I going with this? Well, the reason the government runs out of other people money, or what the expression, you can you can have free stuff until you run out of other people money, is that at some point the essential people are going to be fed up with the system because they're going to think that it's unjust. Usually that happens when they can't put food on the table. There is the expression that an army runs on its stomach. It's the same with citizens. Bread and circus is another thing that is true. So the moment people run out of bread or they run out of circus, they're going to go on the street. And when they go on the street, that human energy, that like driving a truck, that doesn't materialize anymore. Like they're not driving the truck. Someone needs to drive the truck in order to keep the country running. So just try to make dark mode on YouTube. No, never. Okay, so here's the interesting part, right? Bread and circus. If people don't have 25% bread, they riot. So this is like the major problem. It's when the government runs out of money, is when it can't put food on the table. And even if the government prints money, it can't convince people to work the farms. Now, the second thing is the circus. Why is the circus important? It distracts people from problems, right? So this is the circus we have today. It's like, oh, let's talk about transgender rights and LGBT stuff. And right? Like it distracts people away from the economy. Because now people are thinking, oh my God, well, I'm going to save the world if I sign this petition, if I put a rainbow flag on my profile, blah, blah, blah. No, Chris, no. So the moment the circus is gone, then people start, people start not minding their own business. They look at, okay, but why is the politician making more money than I do? What why is the politician ending, why is AOC flying in a private jet? Why is AOC going into a place where only the wealthiest of the wealthy gather? And why are they wasting so much money if they hate wasteful capitalism? Blah, blah, blah. Right? That's when people start getting engaged. And that's when people start minding the politician's business. So you don't want that. You want people to focus on what AOC is talking about. Oh, yes, the Green New Deal, saving the planet, blah, 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 blah. Just focus them on anything but the thing that actually affects them. The economy is not a distraction, by the way. If you get people starting to ask about the economy, you're on the right track. And you can tell that they don't want you to ask about the economy because they don't talk about the economy. Biden himself actually stated that if you go in a restaurant and you have a conversation with a random person and you ask them about logistics, they won't know how to answer. And that is true because the schooling system doesn't teach you about logistics. The media doesn't talk to you about logistics. The politicians don't tell you about logistics. They don't want you to talk about logistics. It's stupid to think that the masters will treat them well. History of communism and paganism proves the masters are cruel and murderous. Okay, so it's the same with the peasantry, right? Like the peasantry wasn't treated well by the nobility. But that doesn't mean that there weren't nobles that treated their peasants right. So just like in the example that I gave you with the classroom, where you have a really nasty teacher and everyone is afraid of him, you're going to have some students that just try to avoid eye contact with the teacher and just blend in the crowd in the hopes that the teacher won't single them out. And at the end of the day, maybe you can learn a lot from that teacher. So he might actually do his job. He might provide wisdom, but still. So my God, it's awesome. Did you consider for a second that if you keep giving me money so that I do something, if I choose not to do it, I will just take more of your Australian dollars? How should I call Australian dollars? They need to have a new name. Austerity. No, it's not austerity. It's okay. Give me something with an A that stands for gulag. or Cage. Um, can't think of it right now, but I will. So anyway, let's talk about the Matrix, right? Because they're just so. I mean, overall, it's not abysmal as in the Terminator, right? I think it's a little bit better than the Terminator. I think it's also much better. I mean, it's an improvement over Star Wars. The what? Which one is it? 11, right? The one where they're in space and they're going to that casino world. And the reason I say that it's better is because it doesn't hate the franchise. Like at least it respects the IP. So there's that. And yeah, maybe it is what the joke at one point is that Warner Brothers actually made them make this movie even though they didn't want to. Merry Christmas meant that you're gonna get any Christmas presents. Okay, so I actually spent a lot of money on Christmas presents this year. I had the happiness of gift giving. I spend more than I usually do, and that's because I mentioned this before, but I didn't used to celebrate Christmas. And by the way, all of you who want to talk about the Matrix, blame Mentat. He always does this. He gives me a super chat and then completely derails the conversation. But when I grew up, I didn't celebrate Christmas because a lot of my family relatives died around Christmas, so the mood was gloomy and dark. So now that I have a wife and she celebrates Christmas, I actually enjoy the idea of presents and whatnot. So yeah, I bought a lot because I bought for my family and I bought for her family. There's a smaller channel that addresses the money, government, and energy of the free individual. Channel doesn't claim. Feel free to click that link, guys. I want to talk about the Matrix. Jesus fucking Christ. Can't talk about the Matrix. And I notice this when I'm playing a video game. I might play a video game with the Ushikushi girl on the screen, and everyone is talking about politics. Which is something that I understand, but like 90% of my streams are about politics. Let's talk about the Matrix. None of the characters I actually like literally none of them. I mean, look here's something. Let's let me show you something, right? So the Matrix. Let's look at the poster. Okay, I think this is the poster. If I were to give someone a $1,000 if they can write me an essay about this chica. What is her personality? What type? What is she doing? I don't think you can. I wouldn't even know where to start. Even if someone pays me $1,000, I literally would not know. Like I don't even know her name. This chica as well, the blue-haired one with the mental illness haircut. Like what is her motivation? I mean, okay, she's looking after Neo. All right, fine. But besides that, like, what type of person is she? Because I remember, like, if you were to have like think about like Morpheus, you know, like the actual one, not this ripoff. I knew what motivations he had. Like there was a lot to write about. You know, he was a captain. He did blah blah blah. Like you could write a lot. But this chica, like she's a new add to the cast. She's got literally no personality. Just she's there. Same with this one, you know. It's like, I mean, yeah, she's on the screen. Sometimes she's doing stuff, but like other than that, I genuinely don't know. There's also another thing that really bothered me, and I can definitely see that they really wanted this. Like there's a scene where Trinity walks in and someone else says, "Oh, do you like that MILF?" And I'm looking at Trinity and it's like, really, she's a MILF? Seriously? I mean, okay, you know, it's for that all, but I'm willing to bet that if you actually ask the people in the audience, they won't find her a MILF. And this is why the whole love story doesn't work. Like people, okay, so a love story to work, you need two things. You either need, like, for men, in order to like it, needs to be visual. Like, men are visual creatures, right? Women, they care about emotions. The best love story has both. So for example, Walt Disney princesses, right? Like the princesses, they look good, and they also have an interesting story going in the background where you care about their feelings and emotions. With this, meh. I mean, you don't have any. Oh yeah, this chica was actually the. I think this is actually the best looking out of the entire movie, which gets to tell you a lot. Um, yeah, but I can't believe this managed to disappoint me. My expectations were just show me a fight scene. Just show me a fight scene. I don't care about the talking. And my God, there was a lot of talking. Like every single second, they try to remember that this is a artsy movie, and it's an artsy movie from the colors that they use. The color palette is very purposefully like neon and green, and but it's also like the constant yammering about philosophy, like nonstop. Even during fighting scenes, they're talking about philosophy. It's just ugh. The Matrix was green and dark mode. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the other thing that I hated is that in the first Matrix, the Matrix itself is built to be um like the real world, right? Like that's the whole point. You're not supposed to tell the difference between the Matrix and the real world. And the Matrix actually looks captivating because the real world sucks. I mean, the real world is dark, and the humanity is almost dead. So the real world is horrible, but the Matrix is a very beautiful lie. But here, the Matrix is like you know that it's in the Matrix because they use this green filter, kind of like how in Breaking Bad they use the red filter for Mexico. Like here, they use the green filter, and they also use the neon and a lot of red and purple. Sorry, neon and purple. So they want you to know that the Matrix is fake. And I'm thinking like, why would they do that? Like, what's the purpose in them doing that? Derails the conversation. Well, I'm shadow banned on YouTube. Comment. So here is all I can. Try making a new account, I guess. They first had positive fake world, but people went crashing it. No, 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 no. That's not what I meant, Oliver. Right? They did have in the beginning the fake Matrix that crashed. That is true. But I'm talking about like the original Matrix, right? Like the first movie. The Matrix itself was like the real world. So in the real world, yeah, you do have bad outcomes, and you have like people that are homeless, and like it isn't a paradise, but compared to the actual world, compared to Zion and the place where the people lived, it was heaven. Right? That's why you have the guy that wants to be jacked back in the Matrix. It's because he felt that the real world is so bad that the Matrix was actually good by comparison. Yeah, that is true. So in the first movie, a lot of people complained. It's like, why would you use human batteries? I mean, the idea of using humans as energy is very bizarre, considering the fact that the machines could use any other type of energy source. So they could have used coal, they could have used nuclear. Like there's no reason why you'd use human body as energy. And apparently the sisters, they wanted to say that the machines were using human brains as processors. So they were using like the brain of humans in order to do calculations and whatnot. But because at the time people didn't know how technology works, they didn't understand CPUs, it was actually a corporate decision to change from that into a battery. It depends from your perspective on what is a good life. Yeah, I mean, is the thing like freedom versus safety, right? Because in the real world, what do you have? Like everything is destroyed. The sky is always dark. There's machines that are hunting people at all time. There's impending doom on the city itself at all time. So in the real world, life is shit. I mean, you can't even eat what you want. Like there's no thing like steaks, like you're eating gruel. Um, Population is very limited. So I get it, but in the Matrix, I mean, you get everything you want. It's just that it's fake, right? So it's not real. Fine, fine, Chris, fine. See, I'm not an asshole. Like, I actually feel bad if I don't do something when people pay me. I don't even know how to turn. Oh, God. I don't even know how to turn the dark mode on. Where do you turn it on? Whatever, I'll do it in another stream. I wanted to. Like, the desire was there, the will was there, but I couldn't do it. So, yeah, the brain is an amazing processor. Yeah, human body wouldn't actually create energy. If you had the food to feed the humans, you could make the energy. Exactly, right? So, the explanation is that the Wachowski sisters or brothers or whatever at the time, they wanted to make it so that the brain is what the machines wanted. So they wanted the human brain as a processor, right? So in order to increase their computational power. Human energy is a metaphor for the Lush Farm conspiracy theory. Demons use humans as cattle to feed on our suffering. Robots understand it. I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, the brain actually makes more sense than just using a person's body heat. And again, it's like if you want to use body heat, certainly there are animals that produce more body heat than a human. Like, why not just have cows? Secondly, why even jack them into a matrix? Why not just put them in a comatose state? I mean, you can just lobotomize the humans and they, put them in a coma, and then you get your body energy. But using the brain as a computational power, that's actually a lot better. It makes more sense. Yeah, I saw the fact. So there's this kid in the United States saved a classmate from choking, and then later on saved the woman from a fire. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, good point. The Matrix would cost a bunch of energy to run. But yeah, so I explained it. Like apparently it was a very dumb corporate decision, which just shows how bad corporations are at making stories and writing art. The original script writers just wanted to use the brain processing. That's why the Matrix exists. See, Historis wants me to spoil. All right, do you guys want spoilers? Click Avatar Appearance Dark Mode. Jesus, where is the avatar? Oh, wait, is this? Oh, hold on, I think I know. All right. If you don't want spoilers, fuck off. Monster Inc. is another movie related to Lush Theory. Have you seen it? Oh yeah, yeah, where the monsters are scaring the children. Yeah, to create energy. Okay. If you don't want to be spoiled, if you don't want to be spoiled, leave now. Okay? Leave. Leave if you do not want spoilers. Leave. Go away. Go away if you do not want spoilers. Go away. Go away. Okay. All right. If you stayed, it means you want spoilers. Um, let me remove the title now, because spoilers come at the end. All right, let's put it like that. Okay. Spoilers. Shut up, Henry Cavill. Oh, alright. So, the story starts with some chick noticing the beginning of the first Matrix, where Trinity beats up a couple of agents, and she doesn't understand why this is repeating, and it doesn't repeat in the proper way because this Trinity chick gets caught by the agents rather than escaping. And then she gets caught, and one of the agents rescues her, and it turns out that that agent is Morpheus, and they're pulling the agent back from the Matrix into the real world because apparently they can do that now. So programs can now come into the real world, and it's kind of cool. Like they have like these nanoparticles and they simulate a human. So I like the idea, right? Because turns out in the real world the war is over. I mean, there was peace, but then the machines fought each other for resources. So now it's not humans versus machines. It's humans and machines versus machines or something like that. They don't really explain, which is kind of annoying because like that would have been interesting. I assume like the games are canon, so if you play the games, you probably know the lore more than I do. But yeah, so that's kind of it, right? So they find out that well, actually, before they find out, Neo himself is now a game designer, and the entire Matrix is in the video game, right? He created the video game, which is called The Matrix, and everything that happened in the first movies is in that video game. So he also knows that there's a Trinity, and he likes her, but she's married and has kids. So what ends up happening is that you then find out that the machines recreated Neo, like they resurrected Neo and they resurrected Trinity, because by doing so they can create a new Matrix that doesn't suffer from the anomaly which the previous one did. So in order to keep Neo into the Matrix, they show him like this video game which is the events that happened previously, so that he thinks that what he lived is actually because of his video game, if that makes any sense. How should I explain it, right? So if you're trapped into the, like, imagine you're Neo, right? So you're plugged away from the Matrix, you experience all of that stuff, and then you're plugged back into the Matrix, right? How does the AI keep you from remembering? Well, it makes it so that all your memories are in a video game, so that if you actually recall things, they can just say, well, dude, it's the video game. Like, you're going crazy. What are you talking about? Like, that didn't happen. That's the boot. So in a way, it kind of makes sense. Imagine this way, right? Imagine that you used to be in the Matrix, you get plugged out, and then you're plugged in, and then all your memories are into this famous movie. And when you say, well, okay, that happened, they'll be like, well, we're talking about that movie, aren't you? Like, it's not real, it's just a movie, what? So that's what they were doing. They were gaslighting him, I guess, with the video game that he created. So there was a psychologist that he would go to, and that psychologist would keep telling him, no, the images you're having, like the visions you're having, those are from the game. Like, you can't tell reality from fiction anymore. You just think about the game. Yeah, it's a video game. And yeah, the husband name of Trinity was Chad. Merry Christmas to you too, History. Thank you for the donation. Turns out the machines weren't that bad after all. No, so the thing with the machines that weren't that bad after all, is actually explored into the Matrix Revolution. Into the Matrix video game. They had an MMO, and there is continuity to the story. It's considered canon. And the machines, yeah, like they actually do have a civil war, which is why it's called Matrix Revolutions, because the machines eventually fought with each other, and yeah, like some of them joined the humans, others they still fighting with each other. But anyway, right? So the thing that's really annoying is that they constantly talk about philosophy, and that's not only that. Like, for example, when Neo is fighting Agent Smith, and we're going to get into Agent Smith in a little bit. He's bringing back the French dude. Like Agent Smith actually had a couple of exiles, like programs that managed to survive from different iterations. And one of the exiles is the French dude, who's now like a homeless guy, and he's ranting about the fact that before Neo they had class, and before Neo everything was good, and he ruined everything. And then he goes on and he talks about how this is like a reboot, and reboots are all bad. It's lack of creativity, lack of imagination. Like, that's the problem with you people. You don't have imagination anymore. You can't create anymore. And while I agreed with his philosophy, which is very fucking spot on, by the way, it was during an action scene, and it was so forced. And there was like another time when Neo was still in the Matrix as Anderson. They are told that he needs to make a sequel to the Matrix, and Neo doesn't want to. Right? So everyone was talking about like, oh, we need to make a sequel. Like, what was good with the first one? And they start talking as if they're in a corporate room with a whiteboard, and it's like, what made the first Matrix great? It's like, oh, it's a critique towards capitalism, it's a critique towards gender, it's a critique towards this and that. Oh, you know what we need bullet time. Like, the Matrix is all about bullet time. That is so cool. So it felt as if the writer is taking the piss. Like, it kind of felt like Warner Brother really wanted this, but the writers didn't want to. So there's that critique in there. Like, it's kind of self-aware, I guess. It feels like the writer just wanted to give middle finger to Warner Brother. I mean, yeah, it is so meta, isn't it? So I don't know if that's a great thing or a bad thing. I don't know. But maybe that explains why the movie is so low effort. Yeah, that really is how the writing room works, yes. Yeah, they deconstruct. No, they don't deconstruct the first three movies. They actually say, that there's another line in the movie where Neo goes like, "So everything that I did doesn't matter," and the other person answers, "No, like what you did mattered a lot. Like, you brought peace. It's just that with peace came the realization that there were no resources, and the machine started fighting again." So technically, like, the new city, I think it's called Io, is a lot better than Xi'an was, or whatever the name of the first one. So the new city is like a lot better and a lot more livable than the first one. But they're still in danger, right? Like, the machines are still hunting for them. So in a way, like, Neo did bring progress. It's not like the first three movies are being deconstructed. Like, this is why I don't dislike the movie as much as I dislike Star Wars. It's because it's not shitting on its own IP. Oh, rating the movie 5, maybe 6. I mean, I didn't. But, like, again, I can't give it a 4 because a 4 would be Star Wars bad. It's so goddamn boring. I mean, it's the choreography and the action scenes that are boring. Like, if it had better action scenes, maybe this movie would have been enjoyable, but no. So the LGBT stuff, they keep talking about binary this, binary that, binary, 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 binary. So that's very cringe. Like, after a while, it gets cringe as hell. But other than that, there's not much LGBT stuff. I mean, surprisingly, it's very heterosexual. Like, the whole thing is that Neo and Trinity are meant to be together, and when they're together, they're very powerful, but separated, they're weak. So, like, that's kind of the whole vibe, because towards the end, Trinity manages to fly, but it's not cringe. I didn't think it's cringe. Again, like, the whole thing was that whenever they tried recreating the Matrix, when Neo and Trinity got together, they were too powerful, both of them, right? So when they would get together, they would destabilize the program. So the whole program is built around them. So this is a new Matrix, which kind of makes sense why Trinity can fly, because, like, the whole Matrix is built around them. But overall, I mean, the idea was that Neo is weak and Trinity is weak, but if they're together, they're very strong. So I kind of like that. I mean, it's very heterosexual in a way. Yes, it's literally like a conservative movie, like Family Strong. Yes, I would say that. Um, yeah, I mean the thing with the binary choices like makes sense. I said this before, but think about it, right? Like they keep saying like a binary choice with really good or really bad results isn't really a choice. So if, for example, I mean, you can choose not to pay your taxes, right? But if you pay your taxes, you get the welfare, you get to keep your job, and you don't go to prison. If you don't pay your taxes, you go to prison, you lose your job. So it's not really a choice, then, is it? Right? I mean, it's kind of like in Austria right now, where you have to choose to get vaccinated, and you get the human right pass, or you don't. You break the law, you get a fine, and you can go to prison. That's the law they want to pass. I think it's in February. So it's not really a choice. I mean, you don't get to choose anymore, right? Like this is like you're being compelled. Um, what if overthrow the government? Well, it's what they did in the Matrix, I guess. Like they overthrew the guy in charge. If I say give me your wallet or I shoot you, that's not really a choice. That's a threat. I guess like the counter argument that the movie might try to make is that if you say, give me the wallet or I shoot you, I mean, you can choose to give the wallet or you can choose to try to fight for your life, right? So you could choose to like just jump out of the way and hope the guy isn't going to move the gun towards you fast enough by the time you can disarm him. So like give me the gun or I shoot you. It's like you can choose the bullet, you can choose the to give the wallet, or you can choose to just fight or run away. So technically, like there's more choices than they initially appear. Like it's not a binary choice, even though it's presented as such. That is not true. V. People still choose not to pay. Yeah, I mean, in any system, you're going to have a very small number of people that choose not to pay. And again, like it's presented as a binary choice, but people can still do tax evasion and hope they get away with it. So that's what the movie like. I agree with it philosophically. Some of the philosophy is true, like the idea that there are people who want to be sheep, or the idea that there are no binary choices really. Like usually a choice is presented as a binary one, but in reality it's got other answers that you haven't thought about. So this one where like give me your money or I shoot you, it's like, yeah, you can run away. I mean that's not a choice that's presented initially. But you could try it, and with like paying your taxes. Yeah, like I mean there's people who choose not to pay, but like the overwhelming amount of people, like 90% of them, are going to choose to pay their taxes. It's called the Hobson's choice, an apparently free choice where there is no real alternative. Oh, okay, so yeah. But like people are saying it's like, yeah, I mean you can choose not to pay your taxes. It's how people do, but there's such a small margin of error that they can't really be considered. Well, the trans allegory is the binary. Or people like sovereign citizens don't think government has authority to even tax. Yeah, that's the true case. Um, it's kind of weird. I mean, like no taxation without representation. Whatever. But I suppose the philosophy isn't enough to save this movie. Right, so I'll make a video about it tomorrow on my gaming channel. Um, I wouldn't recommend it to people. I wouldn't even pirate it. But it's the Matrix, so I guess some people will still want to see it because they're curious to what is happening. It doesn't piss on the lore. It doesn't disrespect any of the established characters. It doesn't leave it off in a bad place. I mean, like another movie, if they do it properly, like basically, like it didn't put a sour taste in my mouth with the franchise. I wonder if I could give any example to how it's like. Um, I guess it's kind of like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. It doesn't ruin the franchise. It doesn't. You kind of wish it didn't exist. Like you wish it wasn't there. It's not enjoyable. But it's not Star Wars either. Like if you look at Star Wars right now, the franchise is ruined. Like there's no place where you can go forward from the place where they left Star Wars at. Um, or if you look at the Terminator sequel, right? Like they ruined the Terminator. John Connor is dead. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is dead. Like where do you go from there? How do you make an interesting Terminator movie now? It was kind of like the Star Wars reboot in the way that like they keep using scenes from the first movies to try and give you the nostalgia pill. But other than that, I don't like it wasn't mean spirited. Is it better than Matrix 1 or 2? Absolutely not. I would say it's not even better than Matrix 3. It's boring. Like it's just boring. It's what it is. So it's not bad. It's a movie that bores you. No, Arnold died at the end of Terminator, I think. He used this like power cell thing to kill that other Terminator. So oh, he's not dead. Oh, well, maybe I'm mixing it up with another. Like there's so many Terminator movies that when I say Arnold, I mean the in movie Terminator, not the actor. I actually forgot. Didn't he die? I'm pretty sure he died. Oh, he got the upgrade, or was that? In which one does he become a T-1000? I think it's whatever. Fine. That was that was six Terminator movies ago. Okay. No, he dies in Terminator 3, I think. Terminator 4 is the one in the future, right? So he doesn't die there. There's the Terminator with Daenerys Strongborn, and yeah, I think he gets an upgrade there. He becomes like a T-1000. And then there's the Terminator Genesis, and I don't remember what happened to him at the end. There's one Matrix movie and two Terminator and Alien movies. Simple as. I don't remember Alien 3. I think it was on that prison colony with the dog alien. Anyway, right. Thank you guys for watching. I need to go to bed because tomorrow is a difficult day. Don't recommend the movie. Don't go see it. Bad movie. I don't think the people wanted to make it. So, is that. Anyway, thank you for watching.